Welcome back to the Education for the Kid. A. A for apple. A. A for ant. A. A for angel. A. A for Adam. A. A for avocado. A. A for ambulance. A. A for airplane. A. A for arm. A. A for army. A. A for April. A. A for A. A for auntie. A for age. A for year. A for animals. A for apron. A for airport. A for account. A for accident. A for area. A for eggs. A for arrow. A for actor. A for answer. A for round. A for axe. A for add. A for after. A for arrange. A for acid. A for address. A for admit. A for alien. A for album. A for almond. A for alcohol. A for alphabet. A for angry. A for America. A for astronaut. A for artist. A for anaconda. A for activity. A for acre. A for Australia. A for antenna. A for Africa. Thank you for watching.